Right.
From the exercise. We had it brought to a shop in Turku, or near Turku, Finland, that touched it up a little bit, and then there she is when she arrived in Turku, getting ready to be loaded on her Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament, right?
Thank you, Christine, and hello, everybody. So in the spirit of celebration, a carnival celebration, we're proud to reveal to you the Golden Jubilee. This is a really special bar and lounge, unlike anything we've ever done, and it celebrates the evolution of the Carnival fun ships, from the original fun ships of the 70s all the way to the innovative Carnival XL class that we have today, and it celebrates our ships as destinations. In this lounge, you'll have live music that our guests are accustomed to enjoying, tasty drinks, but you're going to be surrounded by elements that represent the evolution of our funship fleet, which I'll walk you through now. As some of our fantasy class ships have retired, we've taken the opportunity to remove some of the items from those ships, and they will be on display within the lounge, and I'll show you some of those in a bit. We also have features that came off of our original ships, the original Mardi Gras, the original Carnival. They came from the collection of Peter Canego, who is here with us today. Some of the items that you'll see in the space are inspired by motifs and features from the original ships. So in this case, in the example, I'm pointing to the floor tile surrounding the bar, and you have a Canadian maple leaf motif integrated into the design. And that was inspired by the section of what you see in that photo there is a section of a railing that came off the original Mardi Gras. That's in Peter's house, and it used to surround the balcony of the Grand Ballroom in the Mardi Gras. Why Canadian maple leaf? Because some of you may remember that the Mardi Gras was originally a Canadian Pacific Line ocean liner, Empress of Canada. So when we acquired the ship, we also acquired elements that point back to the ship's heritage. So we've incorporated some of that here. In the design of the bar itself, we have glass inserts that are inspired by these glass inserts that were part of the doors from the original lobby of the Mardi Gras. We also have them integrated in the model display. These were the doors that guests would pass through when they were boarding the Carnival on embarkation day, and we've extracted the originals and we'll put them on display in the lounge as well, so our guests can understand and appreciate why we've incorporated that design into the bar. It's hard to see this in the rendering, but take my word for it, in the back corner, right behind the bar, we have those original brass doors with glass etchings of musical instruments that came off of the Carnival. And it was originally the doors for the entrance to the main nightclub on the Carnival. Now these doors will be there, permanently propped open, so if you're coming from the zone next door, Celebration Central, this could be one of the ways that you enter the lounge. So you have an opportunity to walk through a piece of Carnival history as you enter the Golden Jubilee, at least through one of the entrances. Another piece that we are really excited about also, thanks to Peter acquiring it, is that engine telegraph. That engine telegraph is in the center of the promenade. It originally came off of the Carnival. It was on the port side bridge wing. There it is. The next picture on the top left is the telegraph in Peter's house for a very long time until we acquired it recently. We polished it up. We put in some new light bulbs inside. And you'll notice that we set the arrow to the all-ahead full position. Because when you're in this promenade, everything is pointing forward. The ship model of Carnival Celebration points forward. The coins, as you go from the 70s all the way to the modern day, progressively go up as you walk forward. The dioramas go forward. It's all symbolic of Carnival's forward movement. So that's what we have for today, the Golden Jubilee, and we'll open it up to any questions.
In early 2004, I paid the partially demolished ship a final visit and rescued many of her treasures. One of those treasures, a 17-foot wall of etched glass, mahogany, and nickel, will be showcased in the new Carnival Celebration's Golden Jubilee Lounge. Originally designed as the aft bulkhead for Empress of Canada's first-class Mayfair Lounge, the curved wall survived rough Atlantic crossings and 3 decades of lively cruising. Under Carnival, this room became the Showboat Club Casino, and under Greek ownership, the Monte Carlo Casino. The wall featured 24 panes of glass, with every other panel boasting an etched Canadian floral motif. It was a stunning example of mid-century British shipbuilding craftsmanship and something I had admired during my many visits to the ship over the years. While visiting the then Apollo in India, I asked my friend Kaushal to negotiate its purchase and safe removal from the ship. Six months later, after careful packing and crating, the disassembled wall was offloaded from a 40-foot container into my Southern California driveway. With the help of a large crew, including ship enthusiast friends almost as crazy as I, the wall of glass safely made it into my garage. Unfortunately, it was too large to fit properly in my home, which was already filled with ocean liner artifacts. Of course, I offered it to Carnival, but at that time it was felt there was no viable place for these. So I consigned the ensemble to my friend Dennis Bozis of Off the Wall Antiques, who ran the annual Los Angeles Modernism Show. Dennis reconstructed the wall and displayed it in the lobby of the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, steps away from a piano from the Coronia, for the 2008 Modernism Show. Although there were no buyers, the ensemble was used in a television commercial before finding its way back into my garage, where it survived various minor earthquakes and a move before Carnival's Glenn Aprile called and asked if it was still available. In the fall of 2018, they began their next journey to Florida and eventually the shipyard in Finland to be fitted aboard the Carnival Celebration.
Stand up because these are the pictures you want on the outside.
As Glenn Aprile mentioned earlier, a pair of doors from Carnival will be located forward of the Golden Jubilee bar, to be permanently propped open so guests can symbolically walk through time. They were part of a bulkhead of etched glass, brass, and maple, forming the aft entrance to Carnival's Mardi Gras Lounge. Originally Empress of Britain's Empress Room, this space was last known as the Topaz's Windjammer Lounge. Another prize from Carnival that was especially hard to part with was the ship's solid brass port bridge wing Chadburn telegraph. This magnificent piece has been polished up and has had new lighting installed for its new life, with controls set to full speed ahead. The telegraph will be situated on Carnival Celebration's promenade, amidst other items celebrating Carnival's rich heritage. But that doesn't mean I won't miss having it in my kitchen nook, where I admired it for many years. And last but not least are those chairs from Carnival's Riverboat Lounge that are being replicated for the Golden Jubilee on the Carnival Celebration. They were actually added to the ship in 1964 during the Queen Anna Maria conversion in Genoa. Designed by Gustavo Pulitzer Finale, these stylish Albania chairs can fetch thousands in the mid-century design market. Most were thrown out in a 1986 refit, but some were thankfully tucked away in the officers' quarters. Only 2 of these were left when the ship was scrapped, and they are now part of the Carnival archive.
Art is called Aquaria, and these murals came off of the Carnival Victory. Right?
Oh, wow.
So these were done by the artist Luciano Vistozzi.
Oh, yes, okay.
And on the Victory, the theme of the ship architecturally was the ocean. So we had the promenade, and these were lined along the main promenade on deck 5. So when the ship was converted from Victory to Carnival Radiance, we removed these, and also backlit them with these programmable LEDs. So this shows the Carnival Celebration. We have our ship coins, which are used during the keel laying, and then we have a montage that represents the 6 zones on board the ship. So you have the Lido Zone, Summer Landing, the Ultimate Playground, the Gateway, which is our travel theme zone, and then we have our 820 Biscayne Miami theme zone. And if you look inside the Gateway, you'll see an image of the original Celebration there. Here we call the zone Celebration Central. On Mardi Gras, it's called Grand Central, but here we call it Celebration Central, named after the ship, but also because when you look in the atrium, you'll see there's nearly 1,400 pieces of confetti, each one individually controlled, illuminated. We close the windows because they're preparing for the evening entertainment. So here we have another painting, and we used an image of the original Celebration, and it works great as a nice way, one of the first things guests see when they come on board on embarkation.
That's awesome.
We've incorporated the Joe Farkas sketch as part of the composition. We start with the 70s and we go all the way forward to present day, because everything in this corridor points forward, right? So we have the telegraph here, so when you put it into the all-ahead full position, it points forward. We have our ship model that points forward. We have coins. All of the ships are pointing forward, and we start with the original ships on the aft end, and as you walk forward, you'll get to the newer ships. So this explains at a high level what each gallery is about, and if you really want to see more detail, you can scan this QR code once you're connected to the ship's Wi-Fi network. You don't need an internet package to see it. You just need to be on the Wi-Fi network, scan this, and it'll pull up a document that will take you through these spaces and the story behind each diorama in much more detail. The first ship that comes in is the Empress of Canada, and you'll see it transform from a black and white image of the Empress of Canada in the original livery.
Oh wow!
And then go to the Carnival.
Oh, how cool!
Our 1980s diorama here is inspired by the Bourbon Street on board the original Celebration. So we label it entertainment architecture, because to me the holiday class really represents the birth of entertainment architecture. For example, the Bourbon Street on the Celebration had a streetcar.
Yep.
So, and there was a sign on it that said Bourbon Street with the numbers 953. There was a trolley bar nearby, and it draws inspiration from that scene on board. Into the 90s, and with the introduction of the fantasy class came these elevating atriums that were called the Grand Spectrum. In the 2000s, we introduced the Spirit class, and one of the interesting design features of the Spirit class is that we had the atrium skylight, and the supper club was part of the funnel casing with these red tinted glass skylight. So we have the lighting here that it shines on the outside, that you see the funnel, and then it changes to light shining from inside, so that you can see guests having fun in what was the supper club, and now today the steakhouse on our sphere. 2010 decade, we started rolling out on new builds and also existing ships these branded experiences, where we really went from focusing not just on designing the space architecturally, but designing the entire experience holistically, from not only what the space looks like, but working with the bar team to design the menu, the uniforms, the visual identity, the branding that carries through to the uniforms and the tap handles, and the Red Frog Pub was one of the first branded experiences that we developed, and it's one of many, like Alchemy, the Guy's Burger Joint, Blue Iguana Cantina, that we started to roll out throughout the fleet. So while we don't have a Red Frog Pub on this particular ship, we do have a brewery that's part of the Pig and Anchor Smokehouse Brewhouse in Summer Landing, and we have a brand extension of the Red Frog Pub up on our pool deck, which is the Red Frog Tiki Bar. So today you have a representation of guests looking up at the Seaside Theater, and this is going to be an evolving display that will give you a sense of what's to come in terms of our fun ships, new ships that we're introducing in the near future, or Carnival Luminosa, which started sailing with guests on the same day that Carnival Celebration sailed on its main. When you look through the little opening, you see Carnival's original logo, or let's say early logo, let's say, of our Carnival widget. And then when you open it, reveals a stylized funnel, and it tells you a story of the Golden Jubilee. And then you have cocktails highlights through the decades of popular cocktails, each one with a story. And then in here, we've also included some of Joe Farkas's architectural drawings, which you also see on display in our blueprint mural that goes all the way around the bar. And like I mentioned, in the back, there's a QR code here. You can scan it, and it'll tell you the story and the detail of all of the items that we have. And then we have our builder's plate from Celebration, which is from your collection as well. So the mirrors, I don't know when Joe originally did a series of beautiful sketches of our ship. We had them in the hallways and cabin corridors on a number of ships. I know we had them on the Destiny, we had them on the Ecstasy, and maybe some others. I actually had them on paper. So we used that to have them scanned and then reproduced and incorporated into the mirrors here. We have the tables, original from Fascination. So when Fascination retired, we removed these and reconditioned them, and they all have the Al Hirschfield sketches.
Fantastic.
So in addition to admiring the artwork, guests can sit here and look for the Nina, because Al Hirschfield always hid a Nina in every single one of his. On Mardi Gras, this zone is called the French Quarter, and on this ship, it's called the Gateway. So it's a travel-inspired zone, celebrating all things travel, the social nature of travel, and it's kind of symbolic of, if you think of Carnival, we're celebrating 50 years, and over the last 50 years, by virtue of cruising, you have people from all walks of life coming together on a ship, getting to meet people from all over the world, all around the country, interacting with our team members that come from all over the world. And at the same time, while you're having this amazing, fun, social experience, you're being transported to new destinations. Architecturally, it's inspired by grand terminals, train stations, ocean terminals. You see we have the bar here, Latitudes, where we have a mechanical split flap board, which is reminiscent of the departure boards you'd see in old terminals. We also have these 12 virtual windows above, which right now is just showing kind of plain sky and occasional surprises. But every night here in the Gateway, we're going to go to a different destination, a different journey. There'll be items at the bar that are highlighted from our menu of drinks all around the world that'll be featured on those evenings. We'll have food specials at Emerald's Bistro 1397 that follow along with the evening journey. Tonight, we don't go to a particular country, but the evening journey is called Embark on a Journey. It's kind of symbolic of the excitement that comes, the anticipation that comes when you're beginning a new trip, a new adventure somewhere. And you'll see screens showing different modes of travel. We will run it's called a Golden Jubilee. It's basically a historic segment that shows all of the Carnival ships in the fleet. It'll show highlights of the godmothers that we've had through the years. And basically allude to the Golden Jubilee and just the role that has played in travel itself. So if you're familiar with all of our Carnival ships, it'll be a really moving and fun display. There's so many things to discover. I mean, if you look at the passport stamps on the back of these, the back of our bar stools, you'll find a stamp that says Turku, Finland, and the date. And the date shows the delivery date of the ship from the shipyard. This is story-driven design.
Yeah.
And it's not just designing architecturally the space, but designing the experience. Everything ties back to the overarching story. Also, at the end of the promenade, we have our Gateway Atlas. So it's an interactive digital map where you can go and see the locations of all of the Carnival ships in the fleet, where they are, and you can tap on them and see where they are and where they're going. The name of the restaurant is Emerald's Bistro 1397. 1397 is the home number. The core menu is very similar to Mardi Gras, which is a New Orleans-inspired menu, but then we have a rotating menu that'll change every evening. The difference is the configuration. It's on Mardi Gras. The show kitchen is outboard, so all those windows on the lower level would be blocked by well, not all of them. Most of the windows are blocked by the show kitchen for Emeralds, and then there's some seating around the show kitchen, because the show kitchen is kind of tucked under that recess, and then there's some seating across the way. So the zone is 820 Biscayne. It's a celebration of where Carnival was born, our home port. So we have Deco Deli, and we have Miami Slice Pizza. You'll notice on the ship, in addition to the main Lido, the Lido Marketplace Buffet on Deck 16, we have fast casual service food outlets throughout the ship. Cucina we have on other ships,
Yes.
much smaller, and it's a specialty restaurant, but on this ship it's much larger and it's included in the cruise fare. The decor in here is more modern. It's a modernized version, so it's a different color scheme. And here we have the Heroes Tribute Lounge, a display case that if guests want to display something from one of their. A lot of times it's families that lost someone. If they want to have a tribute to them, they can put it inside, work with the ship to have it on display.